Hi, you're listening to The Comedian's Tea Party with Deaves. Fair warning, this podcast may contain adult content. It may not. I don't know. I never really have a plan. So let's listen on and find out. Hello and welcome to episode 46 of The Comedian's Tea Party with Deaves. And this week my guest is Pauline Eyre, or as some of you may know her, Jane Eyre. Pauline is a wonderful comedian, really, really lovely lady. I've known her for quite a few years now, and she's a very kind woman and a pleasure to chat to, as you will see from listening to this. Also lived a very interesting life, so yeah, look forward to hearing about that. There's a couple of things to say about this episode off the top. Trigger warning, she doesn't drink tea. Not at all. Like, she's the first person on this podcast in 46 episodes now not to drink tea at all. Even some sort of started to drink tea, decided they didn't like it and stopped. She didn't drink any. I'm going to rectify that one day when I see her. I'm going to have a nice sort of herbal tea for her, and we'll see how she feels. Hopefully that'll work. Who knows? Apparently it makes her sick. But we'll see. We'll find something else. I wonder if it's just the dairy. Although I suppose she'd know about that if she otherwise eats dairy. Maybe it is just the tea. I don't want to make her sick. I'll see what I can do. Also, there are a number of times in this conversation when I make various comments that would suggest my level of intelligence is lower than it really is. I'm very tired during this conversation. I should point that out. That's all it is. There's also a little bit at the end where I've left the bit where Pauline announces it in, so you will know when it happens. But her son starts playing bass in the next room, which is quite loud. But if anything, it just gives us a little musical bed in the background. So at the very start of the conversation, I ask her what NCT means, and that's just because that was her name on Zoom, which she changed. But I've left it in because it is relevant to the conversation that leads on. So there you go. We talk about surprisingly good chips at the Cavendish Arms, a place that I've not been in a long time. They largely run bringer gigs. They've started doing more gigs now. Hopefully, I may run a preview there at some point. So if anyone's in South London, there you go. Come on down to that. Although if you are in South London, I will say now, in fact, if you're from South London, Kent specifically, because that's where it is, anywhere, Brighton, whatever, Scotland, if you want to come down, anywhere in the country, I am doing a preview of my brand new show that I have not yet written, and that is going to be at Faversham Fringe on the 1st of August. So we've got a little while yet. There's just over a month for me to write it, but that largely not long enough to write a show. So we'll see how that goes. We're going to start piecing stuff together and going to start jumping on as many new material gigs in the next month as I can. That being said, I'm also going to be very busy because so I took a week off. You may have noticed, took a week off of releasing podcasts. I just had to catch up with some recordings, and also I've been very, very busy. I'm not only am I working quite a lot, but I'm also editing sort of other podcasts for people. I did a podcast talk the other day for a school who apparently podcasting is now in their A-level syllabus for, I don't know, presumably music tech. I'm not sure. But yeah, I did that. In fact, I should point out that there was one of the students in that class. He almost had a bit of a bone to pick with me. He had a question very early doors asking what I have against normal tea because I only drink non-normal teas on the podcast. I pointed out that is very much not true, as I'm sure many of you are aware from, I've brought it up many times before. I absolutely love breakfast tea. I drink it every day, several times. And my favourite of them all is Smuggler's Brew, who, if the Cornish Tea and Coffee Company want to send me some Smuggler's Brew, I'll talk about this as much as I possibly can, because I bloody love it, mate. That being said, if any other tea companies want to send me some teas, I'll plug those instead. I've been in the middle of selling my house and trying to buy a new one, and that is stressful and it is time consuming, and that's why you've not had a new episode in a couple of weeks. Please bear with me. It's going to be happening a lot over the next few weeks. I'm going to be busy, so I'll be back soon if I do disappear at any point. Thanks very much for sticking with me nonetheless. I don't know how I got onto that. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Faversham Fringe. Yeah, so please come. There's, I've written quite a lot of the stories already. I'm compiling it all over the next sort of few weeks. So I think it's going to be quite good. The final product of which I'm very excited about. I think it's going to be possibly the best thing I've done. So come and catch it early. See where it starts and what it turns into, because that's been some of the most fun things I've done in the last few years, is going to see sort of massive comedians doing previews of things that aren't yet sort of big tours, and then watching it as a big tour and seeing what it turns into. So come and see the same thing with me. And that show is called Cyclops, because it is largely centred around the story of losing the vision in one eye following an eye surgery and the subsequent surgeries that I've had. It's also, going to be a little bit about getting perspective on things that happen in my life. Maybe. I don't know. I just feel like that's going to be a good angle. If I say that to people, they might go, okay, yeah, sure. He becomes a better person at the end of the story. We'll see. I'm certainly a hybrid now that I've got someone else's cornea hand stitched into my eye. But, there we go. So, yes, please come and see that. There's also a story in this that I would say is probably the story that I've been most jealous of. It's a bloody good story, and I'm very, very jealous of it happening. So look forward to that. That's near the end, but it's a good one. It's really good. So enjoy the podcast. I'll see you at the end with some links and that sort of thing. Thanks very much. Enjoy the podcast. See you at the end.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Just renamed myself.
Yeah. What is NCT?
National Childbirth Trust.
Oh.
Teach people who are having babies.
What do you teach them?
How to have babies.
Right.
And what to do with them after.
I see. Push it out and,
do you know what happens
and then
in a birth?
Don't kill it. No, I don't know. I know there's a lot to it. Feed it occasionally, I think. That's pretty much it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a piece of piss.
Good. I'm glad.
What's this podcast about then, apart from tea?
What's it about? Well, I mean, it's not really about tea, to be honest. There's a bit about tea, although I will talk a little bit more about tea than I normally do in this episode, because I've got some sent to me by a company and I've not given them
fantastic.
a good enough level of review yet, which is part of
Well, I'm going to make a confession. I don't drink tea.
What?
But I do have a very groovy mug.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, so it's water. So
You're drinking water?
Yeah.
You
I don't like tea.
Well, a lot of people don't like tea that come on this podcast, and do you know what? They drink tea anyway.
I can't. I was sick last time I drank tea.
Oh no, really?
It's got trauma behind it. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What?
Horrible stuff.
Why did it make you sick? Like, what kind of tea was it? Just a normal?
It was normal tea, workman tea, whatever you call it, builder's tea.
Yeah.
Sorry, I used to work for a woman who was titled, and she was absolutely revolting, and she called it workman tea.
Oh dear.
And I've called it workman tea since, but you need to know that that's with appropriate levels of irony, because she was a witch. I had it. My best friend was anorexic when I was a teenager, and then we went to her great aunt's, and they did this whole massive spread of tea, and they were going, eat something, and she wouldn't, and I thought, I can't not drink my tea. They just gave me tea, so I drank a cup of tea, and then I was sick outside Which
probably looked worse, if anything.
Yeah. Tea. Horrible stuff.
Oh dear.
And it turns my stomach, the smell of it, the taste of it. But I will be appropriately impressed if you want with the tea that you're being paid. Or
well, I'm not being paid, but I've just been sent free tea, so I feel like I should give them a proper shout.
Yeah.
I mean, you are, of all the people that don't like tea that have come on this podcast, you are the first in 46 episodes not to have a cup of tea.
I think that makes me appropriately special and with the best mug ever.
Or appropriately contentious. No, it is a good. That is a good mug.
Yeah. I'm even happy to pretend there's tea in it. I'm not too proud. Complete slut.
I mean, like what kinds of tea have you had? Have you just had like?
I've tried
breakfast
fruit teas and things, but yeah, I don't particularly like hot drinks. It's not part of my culture. I've never done coffee. Love the smell.
Yeah. And
just never got into it. So yeah, occasionally on a cold day, hot chocolate, but it's not. I used to drink 4 cans of Diet Coke a day.
Oh.
Yeah. So I proper had that as an addiction for many years.
I used to live with a guy who would he'd just drink bottles and bottles of Diet Coke or Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
It's weird. Diet Coke, Diet Coke or full fat Dr. Pepper. Those were the two that he drank. But yeah.
No, I proper gave it up, and it was like giving up smoking. It was hard to do.
Yeah, I bet.
And I now won't touch the stuff, and I drink about 1.5 litres of water a day because I'm just,
Yeah,
and I have a lot of chocolate to make up for the virtue.
Water's good for you. I drink at least a couple of litres a day.
Yeah, do love a bit of water.
Yeah, good. I mean, it's wise, if anything, to drink a lot of water.
Yes, well, I do a lot of sport, so.
Do you? What kind of sports do you do?
Tennis.
Oh, okay.
Tennis and fitness and running and good old-fashioned aerobics and things.
Yeah. Are you a good tennisser?
I am a club tennis player, but I worked in professional tennis.
Oh, did you?
20 years.
What did you do?
I was a line judge.
Oh, cool. I've been watching what is it this week?
Queens.
Yeah, Queens.
What, that Queens that's on the telly over there with Jack Draper? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm not. How's he doing? Is he doing well? I watched him the other day. He's very good.
Still in the first set. I think it's on Sir 5-all. Yeah, 5-all 40 love.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I watched him the other day winning, and then I watched Andy Murray yesterday.
I cried.
Yeah, so did he?
I cried. Yeah, I cried when he cried. We have so much in common. Just to see him play, so lovely.
Yeah. It's incredible because. I've been watching the other sort of tennis players through the week, and there's a lot of them where you're watching and you think, oh, there's a lot of skill there. But when you watch Andy Murray, it's bloody special.
He's really special.
Just watching him.
Special. Although Dan Evans as well is a beautiful tennis player.
Yeah.
Dan Evans is like a short, weaselly-looking, working-class, brummy, tattooed Roger Federer.
Oh, okay.
He's got all that balance. He plays the most beautiful tennis, and he's proper working class, grafty, got banned for doing cocaine, has pushed himself back in, is now top 30, heading to top 20. He's extraordinary.
Oh, wow.
So talented. I love him. And he's not part of the tennis establishment, which I love even more.
Yeah.
Because they're arseholes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Says a previous employee.
So, yes. So says one of the arseholes.
Yeah.
Retired arseholes.
Yeah. That's you can look subjectively once you're out of the gaping arsehole, I suppose.
Yeah. It was clearly obvious then, but yes. I mean, we weren't quite part of the establishment. We weren't around players.
Yeah.
And we were around players when we were working, but off court you weren't anywhere near players.
No, really? No. Were you not allowed or?
Not allowed. Not allowed to compromise.
No, is that anyone or just you?
Very good. Although they were at Queen's was lovely because Queen's has a really intimate clubhouse. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful clubhouse. And there you'd arrive and you were very near the players and used to hang around where they, used to stand on the balcony waiting to go on and stuff where they were. And so you were quite close to players there.
Nice.
But you weren't supposed to chat with them. But Stefan Edberg used to say hello. Stefan Edberg used to go, oh, hi, on the first time you saw him each year. Be like, oh, yeah, it must be in London, you're here. I love you. Nice. He was so nice.
Lovely. Nice.
Yeah, cool.
So, I was going to say, what do you do now? And you've already told me, so never mind.
I do lots of things. I'm a fitness instructor. I'm a voiceover.
Yes.
I'm a
Have you done anything
writer.
we may have heard?
Yeah.
Go on.
Not for a while. Breastfeeding is perfect for your baby. Nothing compares to it. That was me for years.
Okay. What was that an advert for?
That was for Aptamil.
Ah.
Milk. And I did Land Rover on the radio for years and years and years. And I've done Persil and I've done lots of them.
Nice. Oh, yeah. That's cool.
I'm one of those rare people who did voiceovers first and then comedy.
Yeah. It's very much
and my
the other way
agent
around.
Kind of specialises in comedians and has bazillions of comedians and now is signing loads of people I know. And I'm like, I've been there since launch of the company. Cool. And now all the really cool comics signed up there. It's I'm with her.
Who's that?
Sue Terry, she's called.
Oh, okay. I know the name.
She's just taken on Shappy Corsandi.
Oh, great.
She's just taken on Desiree Birch and Lauren Patterson and
nice.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, my agent's wife is a voiceover agent and she does like Michael McIntyre and that sort of.
What's her name?
Vicky Hopewell.
That's my agent.
Oh, was it really? No way.
I was in Vicky last night. We were just recording a new demo.
Oh, cool.
And she's married to who?
Tom Hopewell, my agent.
Ah, an agent for what?
Comedy.
Oh, I didn't know you had a comedy agent. That's cool.
Yeah.
Who's he with?
Oh, no, he's independent.
Yeah, cool. Vicky is, specialises in comedians.
Yes, yeah. Oh, what a small world.
Very, very small world. She's lovely.
She's so lovely, yeah. I've spent many an evening in Edinburgh with the two of them, just drinking till 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's fantastic. She's the best. And she's the one that leads comedy there.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, because she used to run a gig with Tom is it the Colonel Fawcett in Camden? I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, I know it. Is that that's the one where Ben Vandervelde?
Yeah.
It runs his not good ship. He runs his
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he did. It was the Good Ship, but yeah, it's still called Good Ship, I think.
Yeah,
it's just that. Colonel Fawcett, but they moved to. I'm sure you know they moved to Harpenden. So.
Vicky and Tom, yes.
Yeah. So they. Yeah, there you go. Small world. Oh, lovely.
Small world, lovely Vicky. Literally last night we did a new demo and recorded some stuff. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, next time you speak to her, tell her I said hello.
I will.
Yeah. Cool. So, I was about to say, so what tea are you drinking? You're not, are you?
I'm not drinking tea, but I am keeping calm and listening to David Bowie.
Have you ever had a tea that you would describe as not as objectionable as other teas?
No. I'm sure fruit tea and herbal tea would be less objectionable to me than builder's tea, just because I don't like builder's tea.
Yeah.
But, or leaf tea or whatever. I don't know. So they smell all right.
Yeah.
I just don't try them because I'm pathetic. Don't need it in my life.
Yeah.
Apart from the one they've sent to you, which I'm sure is the most superior and wonderful tea.
I've not had it yet. Where's the bag?
And I would happily do the voiceover for.
This is Jade Tips from the Good and Proper Tea Company.
Jade Tips from the Good and Proper Tea Company.
A uniquely smooth floral green tea with hints of almond sweetness.
Okay. Floral and almond.
Yeah. So I'm intrigued. The bag itself smelled delightful. So
go on, take a sip, then tell me what it's like.
I will. Grown high in the mountains in China, these dark, wiry leaves produce a wonderfully light, refreshing cup.
We've all hoped to grow high in the fields of China.
Yeah, it's been on my bucket list for a long time.
Should you swill the aroma on your tongue and do and stuff?
There's not a lot of flavour to it. I'm going to put the bag back in.
Yeah, must be doing it wrong.
Yeah, I had the Rooibos tea on the last episode, and that was delicious. So
cool.
Yeah, maybe I just need to give it a little bit more time.
Yeah.
It tastes nice for what it is. It doesn't just taste like water, so there's that.
Well, that's good. Although I like water, so
yeah, maybe you'd like it.
Yeah, it's my stuff.
Yeah, this is your gateway tea.
You're just a tea pusher.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm honestly livid that you're drinking water. No, it's fine. So, how have you been? I've not seen you in quite a while.
Well, it's quite a while, isn't it? I've been up and down. I'm not going to say fine and be British about it. It's been crap.
Oh, okay. Because of the pandemic, or
yeah, I feel like it's going to be better, and
there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Gigs, which is very exciting, and that I see a future. And I'm doing a festival this weekend, so it feels,
What festival?
So doing Brighton Fringe, I've got a podcast with Louise Lee called Eyre-Leigh Doors.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
you can't turn down a pun like that.
Yeah.
And we are taking that to Brighton Fringe, doing 2 live episodes.
Yes.
See what live feels like.
Excellent.
It's a very structured, it's not a chat. It's a very structured game.
Oh, interesting. So I've only heard the snippets so far.
Yes.
Which are very fun. So I look forward to listening to the whole thing.
We're quite proud of it. It's taken a year of development, and it was going to be all sorts of games. And then 2 days before the first episode, Louise said, "You're going to hate me, but I think we should throw everything out and just do this one thing."
Yeah.
And that's what we do. And she was right, damn her. And so we have one guest and they play one game where they're offered 8 dimensions. So they can literally go to a different time and place, a different alternative reality with somebody else. And they have to choose one of those, and the prize is that we send them off there. So they might be doing something awful but with their childhood hero, or doing something wonderful but with somebody they hate, or whatever.
Right.
So it's good fun. It's very
do
silly.
they get to choose the person, or do you choose the person?
No, the person happens randomly.
Oh, okay.
So we do a load of research beforehand, and we find out people they like and don't like, and it's almost like it's like an anecdotes show. So a lot of it is based on stuff that, anecdotes from their own lives,
right? And
we do the research for people they like and don't like, and so there's a lovely one. The current one is with Philip Simon.
Lovely guy.
Absolutely stalk his Twitter for all the thousands of people he follows, and they were all the sort of people you'd expect. And then just tucked in there was Molly Ringwald. So we threw Molly Ringwald in, and he proper blushed. He was proper like, oh, the chance to do something with Roy. Oh my God, I love her so much. It's like, that was nice. So that's really fun. And then we pull them out randomly. We have a machine called the Dimension Matrix, or Dominatrix for short.
Lovely.
Because we're hilarious. And she is actually a salad spinner. And we turn the salad spinner, it makes a noise, and then we pull out the person. So so it's random who they get with which scenario.
Oh, cool.
So it's quite silly, but it's and we've had some amazing guests. We have someone from EastEnders, and
oh, really? Who's that?
It's Simone Labib. Simone Labib, the paedophile.
Oh.
Don't take that as a clip anywhere, because she's not. She's an absolute delight.
Presumably the character was a paedophile?
The character had abused Danny Dyer when he was a child. She was a social worker.
Oh,
and she had a baby with him when he was 12.
Oh.
And she's just gone down.
Right.
And she's a fantastic actor. You would recognise her from many things over the years. Yeah, Wire in the Blood and Bad Girls. She was the governor in Bad Girls. And,
yeah.
And Downton Abbey and stuff. And she's amazing. And she came on and was very silly. Yeah. And we've had some comedy, good name comedy people. Stuart Goldsmith did it, and Laura Lex is doing it live this weekend. So it's very exciting.
Nice. Yeah, Stuart Goldsmith was my first live, and only so far, live guest. I mean, like in front of an audience. Like I've recorded in person with people. Yeah. But
he's awesome. He's such good value. He was really funny.
He was great. Yeah, he's so funny. Because that day he was... we basically used my podcast as a sort of a test run for the rest of the day, because it was part of Southend Comedy Festival. And he was doing his show later that day, and then Jade Adams was supposed to be doing her show, but she was recording Guilty Feminist at where was that? That was like Royal Albert Hall or something.
Yeah, it often is.
Yeah. So so she turned down the preview to a small room full of people, which is fair enough. But she did make it back in time to record the episode of Stuart's podcast. So so it's a great day. So I recorded with Stuart in the morning, which was they were using the same mics and the same sort of setup. So mine was sort of the test run for it. But it's lovely. Yeah. It's great. It's really good fun. And I'm about to approach episode 50, so I'm trying to find someone really, really cool to get on and do another live one, if I can. Yeah. You're episode 46, so I've got to sort that out soon.
Onwards and upwards from here.
Yeah.
little bit higher, very, very much higher, and then,
Yeah.
Who do you want? Who would be your dream guest?
I mean, episode 50. I'll tell you what, episode 100, James Acaster. That's who I want to get.
Yeah.
Episode 50, don't know. He'd be good. Ellis James, he'd be a good 50, I think.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Josh Widdicombe?
Yeah, he'd be good. Do you know him?
Nah.
Right, that's not helpful.
Did the same comedy course as him, but
did you?
Not at the same time.
Right, okay.
Yeah. But not at the same time, no.
What course was that?
Logan Murray.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, he was fantastic. And Greg Davis did his course, and Catherine Bohart was doing the same course at the same time, but not the same actual course.
Right, I see. How do you mean?
So Logan was doing the same course running 2 courses running concurrently, and she was on one and I was on the other.
I see, like at different
and
times.
We met at the Museum of Comedy, going to see a gig that Logan was doing, and she agreed to come and be my first ever bringer. And that was 6 years ago yesterday. And so I did my first gig, and because I didn't want anyone I knew to see me.
Yeah.
And so she came as my first bringer. I mean, and what the hell ever happened to her?
Yeah, nothing, I don't think. She's...
Who knows?
Yeah, she's barely even on TV.
Nah, she'd be good for episode 50. You won't get her.
She would be good. No.
Too busy.
Yeah, she's off supporting famous people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was that. So that
first
night, I was so chuffed that she agreed to do that, and also because she'd done her first one the week before.
Oh, lovely.
So she told me that the chips were good at Cavendish Arms, and that and what to expect.
They were good.
They were really good.
I haven't been there in about 5 or so years, if not longer.
Yeah.
And
then it was lovely because, well, it wasn't lovely. I thought, this is great because then no one I know will see me, and I'll get to do that without anyone I know. And then someone I'd been working with for 6 years was also in the audience.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Apparently he was doing it as well. I don't know if he still does. But so that was a bit embarrassing. Someone saw me.
He was doing comedy, sorry?
I think he'd done a couple of gigs, yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Who is that?
His name is Marco Bellini.
Oh, I don't know the name.
No, I don't think he's still going. Or if he is, I haven't crossed his path again.
No.
Nice guy. Very nice guy. But and we'd just someone I knew from years before that we'd worked with for years together.
How funny.
It's like, oh, bugger.
It's a very small world. That's the thing, yeah.
It was so scary. And I remember the compere saying that he would come and give you a 1-minute cue.
Yeah.
Let you know when there was 1 minute to go. And I knew I needed to be at a particular bit of my set before then. And if I hadn't got to that bit, I was in trouble.
Yeah.
For the 1 minute. And I never saw his hand. And I was like, what's gone wrong? Why isn't he? And then when I came off, I'd done my entire set in 3.5 minutes instead of 5. So I must have gone like a train.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
It's quite hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah,
so that was my first ever gig.
I would have the opposite problem now. I remember those first days of doing 5 minutes, and it's just the most terrifying thing in the world.
It is, and just the idea that you might overrun is so awful. And I remember a promoter once saying to me, "You've overrun the last 3 times you've been here," and having no idea that I had, and feeling just like, "Oh God, I'm in trouble with my dad." Yeah, and then I got a proper comedy watch, and life became easier.
Yeah. I've had a smartwatch for quite a while, and they're very good. Just set a little vibrating timer.
Yeah.
It's really
it makes such a difference, and now, of course, you don't have, when you do longer sets, you don't have to worry about the time so much. You just don't,
get into
somewhere
it.
Between 17 and 22 is fine.
Yeah, depending where you go.
Depending on where you go, and you've checked that it is.
Some places, 20 minutes and 30 seconds, too much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Comedy Store, apparently.
Yes. Yeah, they are. They're quite strict on it, and the stand don't like overrunning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. My stand gigs were, I think, 9 minutes and 58 seconds.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm going to get that right.
On the first time I did it in Edinburgh, I couldn't see where the light was. So he gave me a light at 8 minutes, because I knew the last bit that I was doing was 1.5 minutes. So if I started sort of 30 seconds afterwards, after I saw the light, then it'd be fine. But I never saw the light. And
no, that's the problem, because I'm blind as a bat, and I wear my glasses on my head, and I can't see distance. That I need them for distance, but I don't really like wearing them on stage so much. So I tend to have them on my head. So I'd have to literally put them down to look at the audience, and I often miss the light. Yeah. So, but it's fine with the watch.
Yeah, vibrating watch is is very much the answer.
The way forward.
Yeah. I'll never forget. There was one. I can't remember who it was for the life of me, but there was one person that used to just have a beeping watch. Oh, I need to go in a minute. What?
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah. That's a line in itself.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I tried to do it with my phone in my pocket. That's a terrible idea.
Yeah, I've done that. Phone in the back pocket. Can't feel it. That's the vibrations.
Well, yeah, because you're
disappear into my
bum. I was
bum.
going to say you're excited, but that's going to go down a route I don't want to go down. And also tried to record it on a phone in my pocket, and mostly I can just hear my bum moving.
Yeah. The worst bit is when you're walking onto stage, so you hit the record button and then shove it in your pocket, and the first sort of 30 seconds is your hand pushing it into your pocket, which is the most painfully loud thing you've ever heard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rubbish.
So have you been writing during lockdown? You said you've been writing. What have you been doing?
I write social media posts and stuff. So that's
okay.
just a writing job. I had to rewrite my show.
Right.
So I had my first solo show, which I had done 5 times when it started. And I had to rewrite it for horrible reasons. So it was a show about my mum surviving a fall. Oh. And we lost her during lockdown. So I had to rewrite. And then halfway through 2020, well, not halfway through 2020, but halfway through all of this, in October, I did Brighton Fringe. And I just assumed it wouldn't happen. Oh, it won't happen. And about a week before, it was definitely going to happen. And I had to rewrite the whole end of the show because I wasn't prepared to lie.
No.
And sort of pretend that she was...
I'm the same way when it comes to writing sort of anything like
so that was quite so I rewrote that for that, and then I've done it 3 or 4 times online. I did it at a conference.
Sorry to hear that, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. And so and now I've rewritten it again with some really helpful advice from a few lovely pros, and I'm really pleased with it. So it's a proper, dead dad show, dead mum show.
Yeah.
But I like that, and because I'm so I've done comedy for years about being menopausal, and then it all sort of fitted together really nicely about being in that sandwich generation, looking after elderly parents and children at the same time.
Okay, yeah,
and so it all fitted together really beautifully, and actually it works well with that being the story in the end, because it then leaves me with, oh God, now I'm the older generation, I'm not in the middle anymore.
Right,
I've got to be the grown up. So now I'm the grown up, which is a weird feeling, but it's all right. So I did a lot of rewriting for that. And then I found when I started doing live gigs again, a few weeks ago, some writing has just kind of happened.
Yeah.
So just kind of on the way to a gig going, I'll just do the old safe stuff.
Yeah.
And actually, I found a new way into some of it that's appropriate for the last year, and that's quite nice. Yeah. So I don't do I don't feel like I write, but I do.
Yeah.
So I'll write gags on the way to things, or I'll say something, we'll go, oh, write that down, that was funny.
Yeah.
And it sort of evolves.
I rarely write things down fully. I've gone through sort of periods of doing it. The best way to write I have found is record a voice note. Because more often than not, if you write something down, it'll be out of context, and it will say something like "bad teeth, hairbrush." Just what is that? Like, that's not that doesn't make any sense. So
I hear that, but the problem is I've got loads and loads of voice notes that I don't then re-listen to, and if I've got something written down, or if I'm putting a set together and thinking, well, I must remember that I wrote a couple of things down, I'll check the book. I never remember to check the voice notes. And often they're the best bits.
Yes.
So I've probably got some gold in there.
That's it.
Because I write voice notes are great on the way home from a gig when you're driving and you're really high from the gig.
Yeah. And your brain's working over time. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Because I'm quite fortunate, because when I gig sort of near here in Southend, I've got quite a lot of sort of comedian friends nearby who we'll watch each other, and then we'll sort of like write toppers to each other's jokes.
Nice.
So it's very, very fortunate. A lovely little community.
Is Michael Wheeler still around?
He's around. I don't think he's gigging. He hasn't gigged for a while.
No.
Because I've ran into him, and he was writing. I think he was writing a sitcom, and this was a few years ago.
He was doing stuff with Pope Lonergan, wasn't he?
Yeah, and Pope's just shooting up, which is amazing.
Yes, wonderful.
Because he's been working on his book for a little while, but he went back to care work during the pandemic, which I think is also working its way into the book. So obviously the book is about care work for the listeners. Pope Lonergan is, he's so many things, but he's a recovering drug addict and and an ex-healthcare worker who's gone back into healthcare work during the pandemic, and he writes some very candid stand-up, which is just so dark but so funny, because there's a lot of people who I see doing very dark material, and few people do it as deftly as Pope does.
Yes. Yeah. I love it when he just gets a chair and just sits at the front of the stage. And it's like a therapy session.
It's
lovely. Yeah, and Michael was on my course with Logan. There were two people on that course who were head and shoulders above everybody else, clearly so naturally funny, so brilliant, so amazing, and could do this standing on their heads. And one was Michael, and one was this other woman who did about 10 gigs afterwards, some of which I saw. It was so naturally funny, and then quit.
Really?
And she was an absolute God-given talent. Yeah.
That's such a shame.
Yeah. Yeah. And Michael did it for a while, and he kept writing more and writing more and writing. He was really prolific.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. And it was also, she and he were definitely the most. And it was fascinating because Logan would say, it's not necessarily the people that shine here that will be the ones that go on to big things.
Yeah.
Because he got interviewed by Simon Mayo, who said, did you know as soon as Joshua Whittaker walked in, did you know that he was something special? And Logan just goes, no, they're all funny. You never know which will be the ones that will make it.
Yeah.
And I found that really helpful because I was probably 5th or 6th. I was all right.
Yeah.
There were, 17 of us on the course.
Oh, that's pretty good.
All right.
That's good.
Yeah.
Top 10.
I was okay. And then, but actually 6 years later, there are 2 of us left still gigging.
Really? Yeah.
And I probably worked the hardest. I've done over 600 gigs.
Well, that is
around the country.
Very much the thing where sort of, as much as some people may have a God-given talent, for instance, the woman who you were with, but, maybe she had like one bad gig or the admin got a bit much because admin is horrendously bad. But, the ones that are able to stick to it or, just get the spark that makes them determined to carry on. Those are the ones that will
There's one thing that's
eventually.
I've always said this about Edinburgh and stuff. If you're going to start comedy at 48, at least nail the admin.
Yeah.
So I trained for Edinburgh quite openly, went to another act and said, teach me what you do.
Really?
And she taught me to flyer, and I flyed for her, and she taught me how to put a show together, and she taught me how to put flyers together and everything.
Yeah.
She taught me how to do Edinburgh, and it was brilliant. It's literally, this is how you do it. And I thought I might as well get that bit right. and then we'll see with the comedy. And actually last Edinburgh, 2019, I sold out. I actually came away with a profit on a split show because we knew who our audience was. We knew how to market the show. We knew what we were trying to say.
Yeah.
We knew who to. And we got them, and it was so nice.
Yeah.
So nice.
That's it. Like with my first show, it's the only one I've done in Edinburgh, which I didn't do officially in Edinburgh. It was sort of under the radar. So it didn't count as my debut. That's worth pointing out. But I employed 2 flyers. Well, I employed one, and she wasn't doing an amazing job. So, and she said her boyfriend was available, and that was it. She couldn't do particular sort of flyering shift, so he took over, and I ended up saying, like, I want him to do it every time because he was much better than her. But then I was much better than both of them. I just had a way of sort of angling it because a lot of it at the time was still about like grammar and the English language, and I'd just sort of shout at people just like, do you like English language and grammar and funny people? Do you like me? Do you like my face? And it's quite fun. And got a lot of people in that way. But it's hard. It's hard work.
It's really hard, it's really hard to trust anyone else to flyer because if they don't do it exactly as you want them to.
Yeah.
And we had specific. So what I got taught, it was Callie Beaton that taught me.
Yeah.
And she was doing a show with Catherine Bohart, and the thing was that they were these 2 redhead women, either side of 40 or something, either side of 30, can't remember. And so she literally said, go up to anybody with ginger hair. So I did. And you say, lunchtime comedy, and that's what you're so into their face, lunchtime comedy. Oh, you'll like this show because it's about 2 beautiful redheaded women or something. And she taught me to do that, and we sold her show out every day. And it's like, I can nail the marketing. Then when it came to doing our own, it was so much easier because it felt eggy to market yourself.
Yeah.
But then when you're doing a split show, if you've got a really good premise for the show, you can find people. So in our first show was about, I did 2 split shows. And I did one where it's like, is it better to be married and middle-aged or young, free and single in your 30s?
Right.
And just go up to groups of women and say that.
Okay.
What do you reckon? Which one's better, young, free and single or married and middle-aged? And this lovely woman just replied to us and just went, neither. They're both shite. Which we used in the show every day. And we got people in.
Yeah.
And then the second time it was a different person. And the show was, we're two mums of teenagers waiting for our kids to fuck off and leave home so we can get on with our lives. And then you could go to you go to young parents, middle-aged parents, and we would absolutely go after people having dinner with their student kids.
Right.
So you'd see people having lunch in Grassmarket, mum, dad, teenager. You'd go, right, I'll have you. Yeah. And they'd come and bring their kids. And it was the whole show wasn't about that. But my bit was about being in the in-between generation, so that appealed to the parents. Jenny Laville was talking about her kids, and she's Jenny Laville.
Yeah.
So it's amazing, and that was the one we sold out, and we all by flyering.
Nice.
Funny, isn't it?
That's good.
Yeah.
Next
one will be harder because it's just me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
don't have that BBC connection.
Yeah. It's hard doing it on your own because I never actually did a split show. I just I went straight for, I'd written the show and I was like, I'm just going to go do it. And the venue was lovely, but on the wrong side of town.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the other side of Waverley Bridge and the opposite direction from the stand. So it's nothing sort of working off over.
That was another thing I learned from Callie. It's like, and I went 1 year for 10 days and I put together a form for venues. So I went to see my friends' shows and I sat at the back and literally marked all these things off on the form.
Yeah.
What's the ceiling like? How hot is it? How do you get in? Do I like the venue? A little map of what the room was like, etc. And then I went to see a show in a particular venue and thought, this is my venue.
Yeah.
This is absolutely my venue. It's on Grassmarket. It's where people of my age congregate. I can get people here. It's where I most like to flyer.
Yeah.
It's got air conditioning. It's got a bar with proper glassware.
Amazing.
So people buy a drink at the bar and bring it in with them. And it's a very grown up space. And it was the perfect venue for me. Perfect venue for my audience.
Where was that?
Again, it's the Apex Hotel. It's a suite venue.
Oh, I know it. Yeah. It's lovely.
And it's bang in the middle. And it's not funky. It's not a cool pub, but middle-aged people don't value necessarily a cool pub for their comedy. They want the show in a comfortable venue.
Yeah.
And love that place.
So I'd really like to play like the Banshee Labyrinth, which is just the sort of a dark little hole of comedy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which is good for my brand.
Different ones will work for different shows.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Yeah. When you want people who are having a nice lunch in a cafe on Grassmarket, look, if you just look straight across the road, that's the venue.
Yeah.
And they're already a bit pissed. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Different kind of pissed at lunchtime than the ones at Banshee Labyrinth.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, they're pissed all day there.
Yeah. To be honest, so are those nice middle-aged parents.
Yeah. But
we're in Edinburgh, we're here to have fun.
Yeah. Oh, I miss
But
Edinburgh.
a lot of the time they weren't getting flyered. People, people go flyering somebody young or somebody cool looking.
Yeah.
And then I go up and say, well, maybe you'd like this. It's like, oh, quite flattering.
Yeah. Well, that's because I was doing a lot of stuff about sort of wordplay and language. Those were some of the people I was targeting, and they're on board because it's sort of a bit more. I'm trying to figure the word. It's not crass or anything like a lot of the sort of stuff.
It's a bit middle class, isn't it?
It is a little bit, yeah.
But yeah, if you're going for language pedants and stuff.
Yeah, which is very much what it was at the time. What am I doing now? Yeah, no, I'm doing sort of. I'm writing a show at the minute called Cyclops about how I lost the vision in one of my eyes. And,
did you?
Yeah, and it's come back. It's not come back. I've had a number of surgeries. So yeah, I can see in it now. It's this one. I've got someone else's cornea hand stitched in. Yeah,
Cool.
and I've had sort of 6 surgeries. I need to count really, but yeah, it's quite a few sort of little things. They're just loads of time spent in the hospitals. Loads of stories have come from it. I also think it's going to be quite a nice, affirmation show for the NHS because they've done wonders. So
yeah, amazing. Yeah. My son they made him a new eardrum out of a bit of cartilage from the front of his ear.
Wow.
He's got this tiny scar, and this man made this eardrum and put it into place. It's just a genius.
That's incredible.
This surgeon. And my son was very young.
Yeah.
10, 11. So it was a little bit, it was even smaller then.
Presumably because it was his own skin, there's less chance of it rejecting.
Yes, it was his own cartilage, yeah. Yeah. So his eardrum had perforated completely and gone. And so it was his second surgery.
Crikey.
Yeah. Just amazing. Just the skill of these people is.
That's incredible.
And to be able to hand stitch somebody's cornea.
Yeah.
I've had eye surgery as well.
Oh, really?
Just the one. I'm just an amateur. And I've got a tiny scar there from it. I was 2.5 though.
Oh, so. On your what surgery was it?
Yeah. It was. I had an alternating squint so that you look one way and so one eye, and it still happens when I'm tired. One eye will wander. Late at night in Edinburgh.
I don't think that's tiredness.
Yeah, but it's not all the time. Although I've noticed if I look at photographs of myself now, it's like, oh, my eyes are not straight.
Yeah.
At all anymore. And I think it's wandered again. But I have very little sight in that eye.
Oh, really?
It's quite something for a Wimbledon umpire.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that must have been difficult.
Not really. The other eye, I think, compensated quite well, and I was good at decision making.
Well, that's the thing.
Got away with it.
Eyes are quite incredible. The way the brain works to sort of compensate with each eye in different situations. You don't quite come to appreciate it until you can't see in one of those eyes.
Yeah. I tell you when I appreciated it. I started wearing contact lenses to play tennis in,
right?
Which I really struggled with because putting something in my good eye when I don't use the other eye really. Yeah. It just felt so wrong. And then they suggested putting a contact lens in my bad eye as well, so that the brain would make amends. Yeah. And trying to put something in my bad eye was completely impossible. Could not get it in there. My eye just resisted, basically. It would not stay open to put it in. And also couldn't see perspective. When my sight was improved, I couldn't see perspective. I couldn't see the tennis ball, couldn't see the line.
Oh, that's difficult.
Because my eyes are too busy compensating and working out. So I still wear glasses now. Play tennis.
Yeah, I wear glasses, but I can't put anything in my eye. I'm very, very bad at it. Yeah.
I've managed it all right, but I'm not going down that route again because it just when you're monocular, it's like, why would I take any risk?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
An infection into that eye.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it.
Crikey.
Who knew?
Yeah.
That in common. Cyclops is a great name for a show. Nice and close to the beginning of the alphabet for the brochure.
Well, I'm starting it with an S because it's Cyclops.
Ah. Because, of course, being a Wimbledon umpire, we had a machine called Cyclops.
Oh, really?
That you could call the serve, yes. The service machine before Hawkeye, there was a service machine called Cyclops.
Oh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
You sit on the service line and you press a button and it told you whether the ball was in or out.
Yeah. Nice. Are you a good tennis player? Oh, you play club tennis, so...
Club. Play for a club.
Presumably all right.
I'm all right. I started at 4.
Really?
So, yeah, against the wall, just hitting a ball against the wall with a racket. I just really, really liked it. So I look like a good tennis player. Because it's so natural. It's like an extension of my arm.
Yeah.
I'm not, however, consistent and stuff, but I'm quite sneaky with spin.
Right, okay.
So, and I'm quite fat and people think I can't run, and I can run and run and run. So that is definitely in my favour.
Nice.
So I get underestimated, which I quite like.
I'm not good. I really enjoyed playing when I was in school and then didn't play until last year. I think that was the next time I played. So that was... I mean,
when they said you can play tennis now, everybody took up tennis.
Yeah,
like,
that was
let's do that.
I bought tennis rackets about 5-6 years ago for myself and my friend to play, and I got two, and the deal was I'd just buy both of them. She'd pay for one of them, and then we'd just go and play tennis. And and then it just never happened. So I just held on to both tennis rackets, and then a friend of mine was like, "I want to play tennis," so we said, "All right, let's go and play tennis." So yeah. And then
it's a great sport.
And then lockdown happened, and then we waited until we were allowed to go and play. And we're both awful, but we're equally awful, and we enjoy it. We can keep a rally going for a good 4 seconds. It's great.
I love it because it's really psychological. It can be like chess.
Yeah.
And your mentality is so up and down.
Yeah.
So I can play really well for a set and then really badly, and I cannot work out the difference. And I'm just trying to find that confidence that I had in the first set, and I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I love it. It pushes you, challenges you.
Often things like that is like where you've done well, you just think, I'm doing well. So your brain sort of stops concentrating, just like, I don't need to worry about this now. I'm good. Oh no,
there's a book about it.
Is there really?
There's a book about it, a bestseller called. It started as I think, which one came first? The Inner Game of Tennis and The Inner Game of Music. One came first and then the other one. And they're the same thing, because I took up the piano just before I turned 40.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the same thing. And it's like a psychology book of how to play tennis or how to play music, is you've got to stop trying so hard.
Yeah.
Because I found when I tried to do exams in piano, I could play the pieces perfectly. As soon as there was an examiner there, my hands just would not move. I was so physically cramped.
Yeah.
And it's the same with tennis. If it gets tense, my forehand goes.
Oh, really?
And I literally, having played tennis for 50 years, have to go low to high, roll the ball, just literally have to go back to absolute basics. But when I'm not trying, when I let go and just go, right, I'm 5-love up, it's fine, then I play really well. I don't even think about it.
Yeah.
I just think, I'll put it over there, rather than...
I mean, it's a very similar thing with comedy. It's a very similar psychology. Just sort of learning to trust yourself and that sort of thing. That is the very thing. That's why we need to gig as much as we do, because it's not just practicing the words that we're saying; it's practicing saying anything in front of people.
It's that when you're in the moment, it's that muscle that remembers how to be funny. That's why emceeing is so important.
Yes,
because you don't have to be funny, but if you find something funny, you can say it.
Yeah.
But there's no pressure. You can just be, this is, how are you having a good evening?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love emceeing.
Yeah, it's very good fun. Yeah. I've recently started doing sort of a lot of sort of longer stories and that sort of thing, and like finding ways of weaving in and out of them, and that's it's a really good, sort of skill to work on, and it's very interesting. It seems to be working quite well for me, hopefully. So,
and it's the difference between an Edinburgh show, an hour show, or whatever, and a club set where you need a joke every. For
sure, yeah, that's it. I'm not trying to mix the two. I know they won't necessarily work, but also if you can write a story that has got a joke every few seconds, then you probably can do it all right.
Yeah. How's the tea when you've left the bag in?
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's really nice. It is quite a subtle taste, but it's it's nice. I couldn't really taste the almonds, although I suppose it did have a level of sweetness, and I couldn't necessarily tell that it was almonds, but yeah, it was definitely there. It was nice, just real subtle, sort of warm, round flavourings.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Just what you want from your gin. I mean, tea.
Yeah. I'm not very good at describing these sort of things, but I'm trying to learn. But that was, I'd recommend it. I preferred the Rooibos, which has, I'm sure it's like notes of cherry and that sort of thing in it. It's
nice.
Yeah, it's really good. Really, really good. Yeah.
Lovely.
I was going to say...
my water is still doing the job.
Yeah. What's the flavour like? Do you have...
very good.
Yeah?
Very, very North London, from the fridge.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Do you have soft water where you are?
No, it's very hard
Is
water.
It? Yeah.
Apparently. It's just what I'm used to because I've mostly lived here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. but it's from a bottle in the fridge.
That you filled up yourself from the tap, or
that I filled up myself from the tap
because
I try to be green.
Yeah, is that a glass bottle or a plastic bottle?
It is a. Are they glass? The ones you buy these days. Not a plastic bottle. No.
Oh,
my husband bought me one for Christmas.
Yeah.
Bright, gaudy gold.
Lovely.
And he had it engraved with Bunny Fitch written on it. So it is a little bit embarrassing to take out anywhere, especially when I play tennis, because I take this thing, people go, oh, lovely bottle. It's like, no, I'm not the sort of person that would have a bright gold bottle at all. And then they look at it and go, what does Bunny Fitch mean? It's like, it's
my next question.
Joke. It's a spoonerism. Come on, Mr. Grammar.
Oh, I see. Fair enough. Yeah, good.
That's the level of affection my husband has for me, that I'm a Bunny Fitch.
That's very nice.
Yeah. I then got to the final of the UK Pun Championships, and he was really cross that he hadn't written Honey Ditch, but there you go.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then those were abandoned. So
what's that?
The UK Pun Championships.
Did they not go online?
They decided not to, for some reason. Don't know. They're going to do it next year.
Oh, okay. What a shame.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a really fun show, though. It's at Leicester, and they do it in a big boxing ring.
Yeah. I know a few of the previous finalists.
Yes, so Adele Cliff and stuff.
Yeah. Lovely.
Yeah, first woman to win it, she was.
Was she? Yeah, she's very good. Yes,
I was hoping to be the second, but,
Yeah, well, next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say about the old sort of the muscle thing, because I've played drums for I'm a couple of months shy of 25 years, and that's very much like I've been playing for such a long time that it's fairly natural to me, and I can sit down in any situation and play very well in time, but if I'm thinking about the song, it doesn't sound good. Like it's in time and. To the layman, you'd probably go, yeah, that's fine. That's good drum. But like when I know a song and I'm relaxed and I can hear properly, like I've done a few gigs where the monitor's rubbish and like you can't really hear what you're doing. And you just see me.
Yeah.
For the listeners, I look like I was shitting myself.
With a drumstick.
Yeah. Yeah. So... Yeah, it's an odd thing, but yeah, if you are, and you can just take that to anything. If you're thinking too much about what you're doing and not just sort of naturally riding the wave, then it's never going to be smooth and groovy.
When someone's got a passion for something when they can say, I'm a couple of months shy of 25 years.
Yeah,
because I'm counting. Like me, and 6 years yesterday was my first gig.
Yeah.
I learned to play the drums. I can do that very basic, 1 with the foot, 2, 3, 4. And I got taught by this really cute boy at university who I had a bit of a crush on. He had very floppy blonde hair.
Yeah.
He was this lovely, lovely, lovely guy. And he was in the band for my final production I did drama was Grease.
Oh, okay.
And he was the drummer in the band, and he had this little band. He went home at weekends, tended to go home at weekends to play with his band because they were putting this band together.
Right.
That band became Radiohead.
No way.
I got taught to play the drums by the drummer from Radiohead. He was such a nice guy.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, he does not have the floppy hair anymore.
No, quite the opposite.
Yeah, but yeah, he was so nice. That's my massive incredible claim to fame. If you're going to get taught to play the drums, baby.
Yeah. Now, I don't generally get sort of too emotional over a lot of things. That's changed in the last few years. I've become sort of a bit more emotional, certainly. But the only time I've ever become properly emotional during a live band was I was working with a band called Asylums, and I drove them to Glastonbury a few years ago when Radiohead were headlining the Saturday, I think, and I watched them, and it's the most perfect set. They're one of my favourite bands anyway, and it was just the most perfect set, and I wept about 5 times. Not sort of bawling my eyes up, but a tear ran down my face, It was beautiful. It was an amazing night.
They are fantastic, yeah.
I can't believe you...
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that's incredible.
Isn't that cool? Yeah. And they used to go back to Oxford, I think.
Yeah.
He used to go home every weekend. Yeah. He was doing geography. He's done some miles since.
He has. He's got around and he can tell you exactly where he's been going and what sort of crowds are above.
He's seen some places.
Yeah. Oh, that's... wow. That's...
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
I'm the most nearly... that and umpiring, I'm the most nearly famous person you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
I'm the one in between the programmes and in between the, on the telly.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
So does that ever worry you that everything you're involved in will never be entirely famous, but the people you're involved with will go on to achieve greatness?
Very perceptive, Si, and I hate you for it. Actually, no, because my dream was to be a Blue Peter presenter.
Oh, you'd have been a great Blue Peter presenter.
And I pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. And eventually they said, go and get live television experience of any kind. And that's when I became a trainee continuity announcer. I was talking between the programmes on BBC Two. And
I've always wanted to do that job.
Oh, well, I was going to say, actually, I never became a Blue Peter presenter, but I did become a voiceover and a continuity announcer. And it was like, how many little kids go, when I grow up, I want to be a continuity announcer. Yeah, not many.
Not many.
And actually, I never would have done all of that if I hadn't, you reach for the stars and you get to the top of the mountain. And I've had such a lovely career doing things like that. And voiceovers are just lovely.
Yeah.
I love doing those and find them quite easy and straightforward.
Yeah.
And never would have, And actually, I did at one point get a sort of very, very cult student level of fame in one job that I had. And there was quite a lot about it that wasn't very nice.
Oh dear.
So I think the gods had definite better ideas for me than I did for myself.
Yeah.
We used to get quite odd. We used to get a lot of sort of fan mail and stuff, and a lot of it was quite odd, and a lot of it was quite...
Oh dear. What was that doing?
That was continuity announcer on Channel 5. Oh. Where I worked with Marco Bellini for 6 years, who was at my first ever comedy gig. This is beautifully coming to fruition as a conversation.
Yeah, gone full circle, and we end.
And we had terrible, wonderful American soap operas, and they had very long end credits, and we could do what we wanted. And we used to fill 2 minutes of end credits with taking the piss out of the programme and reading out viewer letters. It was like a radio show, and it was so much fun and loved it. It was the best job I ever had.
Yeah, that sounds
so
like loads
nearly
of fun.
Famous works for me just fine.
Yeah. Well,
you walk out your front door when you're nearly famous and no one cares.
Yeah. But then you can walk out your front door when you're the drummer from Coldplay.
Or Radiohead.
Yeah, well, a few people would know what he looks like. I am one of them. I would.
Yes.
I'd run after him.
And the great thing about him is he could probably walk out his front door, and it's going to be quite a while till he gets to the end of the drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely guy. There we go.
Yeah, amazing. Right, I've got a few questions that I've decided to stop naming them because it sounds too much like Richard Herring's, and I keep having to explain it. They're the T-emergency questions. So I keep having to explain that they're not emergency questions.
I'd have got that. I love Rahel Estepar.
Good. Well, then these are the T-emergency questions, but I'll leave that in. It's fine. I was going to say I'll cut it out, but I won't. I'll also leave in this explanation of leaving it in because I'm like that. Right, I came up with a new one today. There's a lot of these are about tea, but no, not a lot. There's two that are about tea, but you don't drink tea, so it's not going to go very far. Right, so I've had a few sort of questions come up recently. They all come up from like conversations that I've had during podcasts with like other guests. But there was one that came up today that I decided to ask. In fact, I think I'll ask it in a minute. I'll warm up to it. Right. So we'll start nice and sort of basic. This one's quite a local radio kind of question. Is that if you could choose anyone in the world to be your perfect radio double act presenter, like co-presenter, who would it be?
Oh God, I just feel like I have to say Louise Lee, who I'm doing this podcast with.
Yeah.
She is so funny, and the way that I have learned to spark off her, and she's very clownish, and I'm not, and she brings out the silly in me, and I absolutely love that. And that sounds a bit because I already do something with her that just sounds unambitious. So I think somebody more ambitious. Anybody to do a double act with?
No, I mean, you could choose her if you want.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm going to go with Louise Lee.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. It's lovely that you've found her, and it's
yeah, just sort of by accident and thanks to the pandemic of us both going, shit, can we talk on Zoom because my life's driving me nuts.
Yeah. I mean, that's it's the nice thing about doing this podcast is obviously I've spoken to so many people, and there are just certain guests who I've had on who have just been like, it's such sort of natural, fun conversation with, like really good, bad and nice. There's been a lot of sort of fun conversation with a lot of people, but there's certain people. But I think possibly the easiest to bounce off of was Matthew Crosby, who's so much fun to talk to. He's such a lovely guy, but he's already doing a radio show with some other guy.
Damn him.
Yeah.
Sod him. He's closing the door because there's a teenager playing the bass guitar with
is that what
full
that was?
speaker on. Yeah. Self-taught.
Oh, nice.
He's going to be the Phil Selway of the bass guitar.
Yeah, lovely. Cool. So yeah, Louise Lee. Go.
Louise Lee.
Yeah. I was thinking for a second of who else I've had on the podcast, but there's quite a few. There's quite nice because like Mark Simmons. Sorry?
Yes. And I was just thinking, because you could say, I could tell you people who are my idols and stuff, but I don't know if I would have fun sparking off and bantering with them on a radio show. Do you know what I mean? I used to do these voiceovers on this American soap opera with a guy called John Darvel, who's now a radio presenter at BBC Bristol. And he does the voiceover on our podcast as well. And he and I used to we just write this stuff and then be very silly on the end credits. And
nice.
It's not necessarily, I don't know if I would spark that well off David Bowie. Not in that way anyway. And
he'd be very interesting to talk to, but...
Yeah, careful of meeting your idols sort of thing.
Yeah. Although I'm led to understand that he was a very nice man. And
an absolute bloody scream. Yeah.
Yeah, he'd be incredible, but possibly not the perfect comedy partner. Who knows?
Yeah,
maybe.
Only might be. You never know.
Yeah, well,
my friend did meet him. My friend met him at a party.
Oh, really?
And had no idea that he was there. And there was literally somebody said, "Oh, have you met my mate David?" And he turned round.
No way.
And my friend just looked at him and went, nice weather. Didn't, it's like if you'd told me I was going to meet David Bowie, I'd have prepared myself.
Yeah.
But was so shocked in the moment, he just wandered away.
Oh, man. See, now I feel like Freddie Mercury actually would be a good radio double act partner. Would have been, should I say.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a very funny man. Very witty.
Was he?
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen him interviewed particularly.
Oh, really?
I'm not a particular fan.
Yeah.
Just,
he's quite
obviously he's Freddie Mercury.
Sort of bitchy about certain things, but in a manner that I particularly enjoy. Very much.
Do have a good bitch.
Yeah. I was in one of the comedians' bars in Edinburgh, and I was talking to Tom Hopewell.
Yeah.
And we'd been chatting away for ages, and he said, I can't remember exactly what it was he said, because I was in a bar in Edinburgh and it was late at night. I was drunk. I was very, very drunk. And he said something about, "Oh, you should talk to him later." And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah." And he went and left. And then I was I didn't know who he was talking about. And I chatted to someone else, and sort of shortly after that I went home. And turns out Eddie Izzard was standing about a foot behind me, just chatting away to Ed Knight, who I know very well.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm good friends with Ed, and I didn't realise that he was standing. That would have been a perfect in, because I'm good friends with Ed, and he was standing literally a foot away from me, and I had no idea.
Love Eddie Izzard.
Yeah.
Although I was quite disappointed when I saw her live.
Oh, really?
A little bit, because I felt like it always felt so off the cuff.
Yes.
And then the time I saw her live, it was it felt too scripted. I don't know what it was. It was one of those don't meet hero things of actually seeing her live. Was
it a preview?
No, it was the West
really?
End.
Because I've seen her do a preview at the Bill Murray, which was incredible. And that's
which actually I think would probably be better when it's less polished.
Yeah.
When she's playing.
When there's still that's it. That's the thing. When it's live in the room. Yeah. But also if you're trying to stick to a script, then that will be worse. But then that's the very nature of Eddie Izzard.
Yes.
able to go anywhere.
I think perhaps I just saw, I'd started in comedy by then, and I think I could sort of see the machinations of it a little bit.
Yeah.
I could understand it a little bit better, and it kind of lost that for me.
Yeah.
Still an incredible performer and everything. Hats off, and I would never, I wouldn't be negative about her for a second.
No.
Or maybe it wasn't a good night or something. It just didn't connect for me that night, which is sad.
Yeah. Go and see her again, because I'm sure she'll be good. Yeah. Some people have an off night, you know that, I'm sure.
Obviously I don't, but yes.
Yeah. I can't remember.
Even Eddie's hard.
I was thinking the other day, before we'd even sort of organised doing this, I was thinking, do you know what it was? I was talking about when we did that festival gig. Do you remember, for Paul Johnston?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, yeah.
Yeah.
We did the same joke all afternoon.
That is exactly what I was going to bring up.
Joke, and it's still my favourite joke of all time. My favourite joke.
Do you want to tell it for my listeners?
Oh, yeah. So this is the best kids joke you'll ever hear, and kids love it and parents love it, and anyone who doesn't love it is wrong, which is, why did the baker have smelly hands?
I don't know. Why did the baker have smelly hands?
Because he needed a poo. It's so great. And I don't know who originally did it, but they're a genius.
Oh, it's been
and
around
I also
for a
like
long
that
time.
You just said, I don't know, as if you hadn't heard it 35 times that very afternoon.
You
and
know,
every kid in the room telling it. And that was a very difficult afternoon.
It was, yeah.
I grew a foot as a performer that day.
Yeah, yeah.
It was one of the best things I've ever done, because it was so hard.
Yeah. Because obviously that was, because I mentioned it, I was talking about it, but I think it may have been on the last episode. I was talking about that gig. And obviously everyone's sort of doing sets between bands, which was insane.
Yeah. So the band did 20 minutes, and then there was supposed to be a comedy tent separately.
Yeah.
But it didn't work that way. And the band did 20 minutes, and then there was 20 minutes to set up for the next band. And we could only do it in those 20 minutes because it was too noisy otherwise with the bands.
And
what happened was different people kept coming in, but then it started raining. And so everybody took refuge in the comedy tent.
Yeah.
But there were loads and loads of little kids, and some of the acts were absolutely filthy.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, because a lot of people...
Down, and there were little kids in the front row, and I was going, hey, kids, show me a joke. Why did the baker have smelly? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was such a laugh.
Because they said to him at the time, like, oh yeah, you can swear, that's fine, like, say whatever you want. And I decided to take it upon myself to play it clean, and it went well. I seem to remember having quite a good gig.
But the parents didn't care as well, because they just sent the kids into this tent
and
got drunk in the fields listening to the bands, and they had no idea that Alex Oliver was entertaining their children.
Yeah. Entertaining, disturbing.
It was fun.
Yeah. That's great.
And it was like one of those moments where somebody just goes, Phil. Yeah. And I had to fill, and I couldn't do any of my own material. And it was just, I think I became an MC that day.
Yeah.
I loved it though, because you're sitting on your own shoulder going, this is how you learn.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You're going to be so much better as a result of this.
Yeah. And you were great indeed.
Thank you. Oh, I loved it.
Yeah. Oh, I want to play a gig that old for again.
Yeah. I did another one at a seaside on a cliff top with Carn Johnson, who was there, I think, that day. And it was definitely not as much fun. It didn't work in the same way, but it was just as grim.
Yeah.
But
there was magic in the air that day, I think.
There really was. I found that really, Janet Garner. John, love Janet Garner.
She's great.
Fuck me, the cleaners walked on.
Yeah.
I woke up from a dream once and messaged her and said, I have just had a dream that I was watching live at the Apollo, and you walked on with all the smoke and the dry ice and stuff, and just went, fuck me, the cleaners. I just thought she could definitely do live at the Apollo. She's so funny. And that opening line would kill it.
Yeah.
That's very bad, isn't it, giving somebody else's jokes away?
No, it's fine.
Oh, she's wonderful.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah, she lives down the road to me as well.
Gosh, yes, of course. Yeah. She's gone north in the world from Kent.
Yeah.
Not up in the world, north in the world.
Oh yeah, right now. Speaking of that gig, because obviously that was very interesting. You definitely emceed that day.
Yeah.
And I don't think you got people's names wrong, but people often do get people's names wrong. For instance, the worst time I've ever been introduced to stage was at Natis, and I got introduced as C. Deaves, which was
I quite like that.
Very wrong.
CD.
Well, that actually
the name will be in Spain.
Yeah. Well, it's discussed that my surname is either Scottish or Portuguese.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And either way,
it couldn't be more straightforward in English, though.
Yeah.
Like, Si is probably short for Simon.
It is. Yeah.
Deaves.
Yeah.
Yeah. It.
But he saw that and thought, Spanish, thank you, Colombian drug lord. But
weird.
That very introduction did birth the opening line to my first show, and also a line that I use anytime anyone introduces me by the wrong name. So it's become quite handy. But
what's the gag?
Well, it's essentially the one that I just did. But
sorry, it's really good.
Oh, thanks. I tried to make it look natural, and now I'm going to over-explain it. No, I talk about how people often mispronounce my name because they say Davis and Divas and all sorts. Well, no, that is what it is, yeah. And Diabetes, if they think I'm some kind of Colombian drug lord, which is fine for pronunciation and spelling, but I've not done this in ages. No, which is fine for pronunciation, but for spelling, I use the phrase, it's like leaves with a D. That's what I'm saying, is because the first show is called Leaves with a D. And I say, like, it's fine for pronunciation, but for spelling, like for instance, I once told I always tell people it's like leaves with a D. And the man turned around and said, what, leaved? Which is absolutely true. That genuinely happened on a phone call. So, you fucking idiot.
I got introduced on stage in Manchester.
Oh, that was going to be my question, by the way. What's the worst way you've ever been introduced to stage? Jane
Eyre.
No! That's funny.
Because I think I said, because if I don't mention it, if I don't check that the MC knows how to pronounce it, then they get it wrong. But if I do check, then they always say, yeah.
Yeah.
And this woman, I said, so it's Pauline Eyre, Eyre like Jane.
Okay, right.
Get you to remember it. And
so
she
it's your own fault.
Pronounced me on as Jane Eyre. I was like, oh, thanks again. Thank you for the opening line.
That's great.
Yeah, sometimes people say, are you related? And I say, no, she's fictional. Yeah. But so that was a good one. I don't think I've had Pam as yet, but people have called me Pam to my face.
Have they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happens quite often. I think that's just a middle-aged woman beginning with P.
Yeah.
We're going to have a go at Pam.
Yeah. What mispronunciations have you had?
Not bad, just Eyre-Leigh, really.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Most people, if they're worried about it, they'll ask.
Yeah, sure.
And then occasionally you get somebody who just doesn't look at your name until you go on.
Yeah,
and
they just assume.
I just think, well, that's your fault then.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes, like I have been known to, when I get a Davies or a Deavers, especially if it's someone that I've known for ages, and I won't name any names, but there was someone that I'd gigged with many times, and I was emceeing, and he said, "Sir, thanks very much to Cy Davies." And when I went back on, because he didn't do that well, so I just ripped into him. I was like, I'm not having that. Like, I've known you for long enough, you know what my name is.
Yeah. I also think when you're someone who when people have got it wrong, you make much more of an effort. I never get people's names wrong if I can,
Yeah.
Say, hang on, because I've worked out how to properly pronounce this, then I'll make an effort. I'll
always say to people, if I'm emceeing, I'll always ask someone, because I always assumed, do you know John Marr?
No.
The Irish comedian?
Right.
I always assumed that his name was Meager, but it's Marr. It's pronounced Marr.
Like Johnny Marr.
Exactly like Johnny Marr. That is the Irish spelling of Johnny Marr's name. Yeah, which is what it's supposed to be. But he, as I understand it, John was telling me about that, saying that, it was originally like spelt Meagher. I think that's how he spells it.
Yes.
But it's actually Marr.
Good to know.
Yeah.
If I ever introduce him.
But
I'll look very impressive from the start.
And then I think I went on stage and said, Mayor.
Damn it.
Yeah, I was like, God, I heard myself say it. And I was like, oh, no.
I would definitely say Johnny Marr.
Yeah, nice. Right, now I'll ask one more question. This is the question that I thought of earlier because it came up. Okay. There's a guy who he often just has sort of mad tattoos on his arm. He has a tattoo on his hand that looks very much like someone we work with, and he swears blind it isn't, but who knows. But he was saying, well, I pretty much talked him into it, actually, that he was thinking of getting a barcode tattooed on his arm of his favourite snack, and he couldn't decide what his favourite snack would be. If you were going to get the barcode of any product tattooed on you, what would it be?
Oh, that's good. Oh, see, I want to be cool and say some fantastic kind of gin or something, but it would be Cadbury's Dairy Milk.
Yeah?
I think so, or maybe a whisper or a twirl or something. Just because I'm a
It's
cheap
classic.
date. Yeah. Yeah, it's like when someone wants to buy you a nice gift and you're a middle-aged woman, they'll buy you good chocolates. It's like, no, that's quite disappointing.
Yeah.
I just a box of milk tray.
Yeah. Although, speaking of good chocolate, have you ever had Lily O'Brien's?
No.
They do...
I'm writing it down.
They do 2 different ones. I can't remember what one of them is, but one of them is like dessert chocolates, and they're designed to taste like different sort of desserts, and it is delicious. It's often on offer as well in sort of all the big supermarkets, which is how I came to try it for the first time.
Yeah, I've literally written that down.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's
my favourite sort of snack. Yeah, sort of snack and treat, or Ben and Jerry's chocolate fudge brownie ice cream.
Yeah, solid choice.
Which is not classy in any way. It's just chocolate fudge
it's just great.
Brownie.
Yeah.
And it is, God, 2 spoons, teenager, telly, heaven.
Yeah. I said I think I'd be tempted to get a tub of Philadelphia.
Oh.
I just really like
But I'd also want the smoked salmon and the bagel.
Yeah, but then they come in multi-packs. So that'd be difficult.
Yeah. Why would you have it on your arm in the first place? Is it because I want to be able to beep it and it just arrives?
I guess so, yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. I suggested to him that, because he's just started dating someone who's got kids, so I said he should get, because what is notoriously difficult to scan is things like cream eggs and Kinder eggs, which obviously kids love. So get the Kinder egg tattoo on your arm of the barcode. Yeah. It's easy, because they're always folded over. Like, they never think about the barcode. You can never scan them, so boop, do your arm.
Oh, hang on then. I've changed my mind. Mine is going to be a multi-pack of Whisper that's on offer.
Ah.
And it's in the knackered fridge, or shelf. So it's actually 12p.
Yeah.
So I can go and buy a whole pack that should cost a couple of quid for 12p every time.
That's a great idea. Yeah. Get it so that it understands that's discount Twix. What was it? 12s?
Yeah.
Yeah, discount 12s. Yeah. Smart.
When I was a kid, my mum would give us 30 pence emergency money, which was enough to get you home on the bus and train if you lost your bus pass and your train pass.
Yeah.
But it in those days it bought a Twix and a Mars bar. So that's the 1980s for you. Possibly late 70s. Yeah.
Nice.
So to go back then, they didn't have barcodes in those days, but as soon as they introduced barcodes, get a Freddo.
See, I suppose the
Freddo barcode on my arm.
I suppose the equivalent of those days would have just been getting a Happy Shopper sticker.
Oh God, yeah. There you go. That's what I'm having tattooed on my arm.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah, like all the cool kids.
Yeah. Lovely. Well, that's an excellent answer, and I am glad I decided to ask that question. That is going to stay in.
I'm glad now. Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's going to stay
I think that you have to decide why you want the barcode on your arm in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, you
Not
can get
just as a memento of the time that you looked at the packaging.
Yeah. I just like the symmetry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The numbers, they speak to me.
Yeah. Because I speak in binary.
Yes, very good.
That sort of works.
Yeah.
Lovely. Right, so have you got anything that you want to plug? Obviously your podcast.
Oh, yes, you have to listen to my podcast, which is called Eyre-Leigh Doors. EYRE, like Jane. Eyre-Leigh Doors, wherever you get your podcasts. Yeah, my show All Change, which is right at the start of the Edinburgh Festival brochure.
Yes.
When Edinburgh comes back. Not this year, probably next year.
I was going to say you're doing it this year. Yeah. Now, here's the thing about shows. Sorry to go on a tangent immediately. I've got another question to ask you as well regarding your podcast. But That's the thing about Edinburgh shows is, like, I'm writing this show now, and obviously I'm not going to Edinburgh this year. Some people are, but very, very few people. And, just most people aren't. I'm wondering if it's worth just sort of, I'll preview it a bunch and then just do a little tour.
That's what I had planned last year.
Yeah.
And actually, because I'm not really, sort of am, but I'm not in the mainstream in terms of I don't have a comedy agent, I get my own gigs and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have to call anything a debut, and I don't have to, a tour doesn't have to be defined by the way it's defined by comedians, which is if you stay away from home, then it's a tour.
Yeah, yeah.
And so last year I had this show, I had this fantastic set of 30 dates, which included Edinburgh, 10 days in Edinburgh only, and all the places around. Some of them were festivals, but then I started finding cafes and other places, art centres and things that would book me without it being a big tour and a promoter and a PR and everything. So I called it a tour.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was going to be so lovely. I was going, and also, if I had friends from like university who lived somewhere small and like, well, is there anywhere near you that you can think of that I could perform it? And they go, well, there's a bookshop. Yeah. And lovely. And so contact the bookshop. Can I come and do my little show in your bookshop? It would be something funky to do, wouldn't it? And I'd go, yeah. And I had all these lovely dates. Nice. So I need to book that again.
Yeah,
and yes, I agree with you. People want to see shows. They don't care if it's got the right. There was one art centre that booked me on the strength of a video, and the people they book there are proper top acts, and it was a beautiful 96-seater room.
Lovely.
And they just booked me, and it wasn't going to cost me anything, share of the ticket sales.
That's great.
So, do you know what? You just get out there and do it, because it's you don't have to have the machinery behind you. You don't have to have done Mock the Week or have a PR person. But it's hard work. Yeah. That's why you learn to nail the admin.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose, if I do tour it, then I could still take it to Edinburgh next year, and it'll be so polished that technically it will still be my debut, and I'll win everything. That'll be
everything.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. When you walk away from the idea of debuts and winning things, it
takes the pressure off.
So lovely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I ended up with the show that sold out, and they were like, well, you get a laurel on your poster next time. You get a laurel that says you're a sold-out show. Yeah. Full stop. So my next show could be in one of the really big rooms in one of the really posh places, and it would have a laurel saying "Sold Out Edinburgh 2019."
Yeah, that's
great.
It
was a 32-seater room at Suite.
Yeah.
But it was glorious and full every day. I'd rather do a full 32-seater room than a 1/3 full massive room.
Yeah. 32 people in a 32-seater room over 32 people in a 150-seater room is absolutely, for sure.
And also there's one word different, which is profit.
Yeah.
Because you haven't paid for a 150-seater room.
Yeah.
Maybe one day.
Nice. Now, my other question is, because you were looking to rename your podcast a little while ago.
We are thinking of it, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like Eyre-Leigh Doors. Eyre-Leigh Doors. I said it
exactly.
wrong, but that's the... Yeah.
The thing is, you don't look at the words and go, oh, that's a clever pun. You go, oh, how do you pronounce that? Oh, that's Eyre, like Jane. Lee. And by the time you've got that far, you're not going, oh, that's a fun pun.
Eyre-Leigh Doors is quite well known, and sort of as soon as you... Because it's hyphenated as well, isn't it? So...
Yeah, but you don't see the word early.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So Louise had a show called Louise-Leigh Led or something similar, which was a pun on easily led.
Right, okay, I've just got that, yeah.
But I didn't see that. When I saw it written down, it didn't come to me like that. So we're thinking of changing it, possibly to Choose It or Lose It.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. It's got more of it also says game show. Yeah,
it does. Yeah. Well, if you listen to this in the future, listeners, then
maybe find Choose It or Lose It.
Yes, possibly that. Or just search Pauline Eyre.
Yeah.
Or Jane Eyre. There'll be a link on a Wikipedia page.
That would be nice, wouldn't
sister
it?
Of Pauline Eyre.
Mrs. Rochester. I bloody love that book. I didn't read it till I was in my 40s.
Oh, really?
It's lovely. And I read it again during lockdown. It's such a lovely book.
Nice. Well, I've never read it, so maybe I'll leave it till my 40s.
I definitely recommend it. It's a really well-written... It's a cracking story.
I've heard it's popular.
Yeah. Look at me. I've got the inside track on the latest the latest cool stuff to read.
My wife's just texted me. She overheard me say fictionary when I meant fictional.
Did you say fictionary? That's fantastic.
Yeah,
that
I like
should
it.
be a word now.
Do you know, I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it in my. Trying to think of a funny play on vocabulary, but I can't think. I'm quite tired.
Vocabulance.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not working.
Vocabulation.
Yeah.
Let's leave it where it was, shall we?
Yeah, in my canon.
Yeah. Nice.
Brilliant.
So yeah, was there anything else that you want to plug other than changing? No, what's it? Not changing rooms. What am I thinking?
See? No, it doesn't slip off the tongue. Eyre-Leigh Doors, which may become Choose It or Lose It. My show one day will be All Change, Pauline Eyre, when that gets the chance to be resurrected. It's doing a few places this year.
Yeah.
And book me for your comedy gig.
Absolutely. I don't have one.
No, I was talking to your listeners. Get your friends to book me for their comedy gigs.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have friends with comedy gigs. I'll let you know. I'll send you some messages.
Excellent.
Yeah. Where are you based?
North London.
Oh, yeah, you said that already. Yeah.
Practically on the North Circular and the M1.
Nice.
London driver, happy to drive other acts. There was somebody's status on Facebook the other day that said, can you imagine if they didn't, something like if driving other acts wasn't a thing or something. And I was like, shit, I'd never work again. And then realised that my biggest fantasy in comedy is to be booked for a gig, not to drive anybody else.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Yeah, it's quite funny.
or actually booked for a gig and there's a lift in it for you from the opener. Yes.
That's it. Yeah, I've offered to drive people from gigs before, and the promoter said, "Oh no worries, they're driving themselves. Come anywhere." And I'm like, "I'm just booked for a gig." It's very exciting. Yeah,
that's how it works.
Yeah,
I'm just at that stage I was just at that stage before lockdown, and I really thought and hoped it would just resume where it kicked off.
Yeah, and
it really has. That I've just applied for stuff. Can I go for an open spot? Will you see me? And then getting them.
Yeah,
and it's just the most lovely feeling of I'm going to Hull for £25, going to Stockport.
Yeah, there's a lot of the gigs.
And now it feels better than it did before because I'm leaving London.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of the gigs before that you'd look at and you go, no, I'm above that. Oh, we're not anymore. No one's above anything.
I am not above any gig anymore.
Yeah, please, just book me for anything. I'm desperate.
It's a joy. It's just so nice to be back in front of people.
Yeah. Right, so where can people find you online?
So I am on all the socials at Yes Pauline Eyre. So at Yes Pauline Eyre on Twitter and Insta and all the rest of it. Yeah, and I have a blog which you can just just Google the blog, Pauline Eyre blog.
Have you got a website?
It's the blog.
It's the blog.
So yes, so there's the blog on there and also all the website stuff.
Nice. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Thank you, Si.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for coming on. Sorry for being a nightmare in organising.
Darling, if you're going to do this, you've got to nail the admin.
Yeah, well, I normally do, but there's been a lot going on.
There has.
Yeah.
Diaveth. It's a fantastic name, and I think you should stick with it.
Well, thank you very much, Jane Eyre.
You're welcome.
Cool. Right. I'd better go. But yeah, thanks again for coming on.
Welcome.
It's lovely to see you.
Jack Draper won his next match.
Oh, great. Oh, good for him. Yeah, nice.
Unbelievable.
It's good to see.
Fantastic.
Lovely.
Cool. Andy Murray tomorrow.
Yeah, he'll win again, no doubt. He absolutely walked yesterday.
He's playing the number one seed.
Yeah, he's 124 now, is he?
Well, yeah, he doesn't really have a proper. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't count when it's Andy Murray. It doesn't mean anything.
No.
But Berrettini is really good. So
yeah. That's
we'll
it.
See.
If, like, for instance, Tiger Woods, several years not playing, is still better than your average Joe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pro.
But you can't sort of say he would beat this person and wouldn't beat that person because you just don't know.
Yeah.
I think probably I'd beat Tiger Woods right now.
Yeah, just with a golf club.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, just because he can barely walk at the moment, but he'll get there.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. Bless him, he's coming back.
Yeah.
He'll be all right.
And I'm sure he's still better than me.
Yes, probably.
Yeah.
He's probably better than me too. Take him at tennis.
Yeah. Nice.
Right. Thank you very much.
See you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So that was Jane Eyre. Not really, no, obviously Pauline Eyre, the fictional sister of Jane Eyre, or fictionary, if you will. She's great fun. I love that. That's really enjoyable. And I look forward to seeing her at gigs in the future. If you want to find her on social media, as she says, she is at Yes Pauline Eyre on everything. Go and find her blog. Go and listen to her podcast, Eyre-Leigh Doors, or as it may be by this point, Choose It or Lose It. Or it could be something else. We don't know. It's not properly changed names yet, but I understand it is becoming Choose It or Lose It. Either way, just search for Pauline Eyre. You will find it. If you want to show support for the podcast and are able to, then please go and donate a little bit at ko-fi.com/Deaves. There'll be a link for that in the podcast description. But, you know, if you enjoy paying for stuff, like you pay for your streaming services, that sort of thing, if you want to show your appreciation and don't know how to say it in words, then say it in coins, because that is very much appreciated and it all goes back into the podcast. However, you don't have to. Feel no pressure. This is absolutely out there for free if you want it, but I will give you a shout out if you ever want me to sort of give a shout out to your business or anything like that, or if you've got something to plug and you want to send me some money. To be honest, if you want me to plug something, just send me a message. I'll do it for free, so whatever. But if you're a business and you want your business plugged, then let me know and I'll do that for whatever donation you want to give. It's all going to help, and I'll give you a shout out on here and say thank you. Otherwise, as I've previously said, if you can't donate, just run on over to iTunes and I don't know if it's still called iTunes, Apple Podcasts, whatever, and drop us a 5-star review. Tell your friends, share the posts, but ultimately, don't forget, 1st of August, Faversham Fringe, Cyclops. It's going to be a good laugh. It's going to be really, really fun. So I look forward to seeing you there. My cat is about to start eating some equipment, so I'm going to sign off. So be good to each other, drink tea, tell each other you love them. I'll see you soon. I love you all. Goodbye.